Joining me now is Tulsi Gabbard, former Congresswoman and presidential candidate and Army reservist. Tulsi, thanks for being with us tonight. How many Americans
Thanks, Laura.
really are going to have to suffer before there is some type of accountability within this administration for its repeated failures? Failure after failure. No one ever gets fired except that guy who stole the lady's luggage.
And that right there is the tragedy here, Laura. At this point, none of us should be surprised at their lack of care and compassion, even after this disaster for the people there in Palestine, Ohio, or those who are facing similar disasters across the country. They have shown us already that they do not care about us. They don't respect us so much that they think we're stupid and continue to lie to us and make up stories to cover their own backside. They could have taken action to prevent this. You look at the corporate side, you look at Norfolk Southern, they make billions of dollars every year. We should be asking from them, hey, why is it that you're still running unsafe, archaic technology in your train systems? Ask the Biden administration, hey, you knew, Pete Buttigieg said, oh, well, there's 1,000 trains that derail every year. If you know that, what are you doing about it? What could you have done to potentially prevent this absolute catastrophe, putting the lives of these families, their loved ones, their kids, their pets, their animals at risk here? And that's really the question that we need to ask of those who are responsible. They're so arrogant. They think that they're special. They're above the law. They're above reproach. They're above accountability. They clearly don't care about us. They think they can get away with anything. We have to demand more. We have to demand this accountability. We have to demand that those who are in these positions are actually doing their job to take care of the American people. A lot of this reminds me a little bit of the opioid crisis, Laura, where you've got all these big pharmaceutical companies making a lot of money off the lives and suffering of the American people. How many of them are in jail right now? I can't think of a single one. And so these people at Norfolk Southern, people in the Biden administration, they look to that and they think, hey, we're going to get away with this without a scrape on our back. And we cannot allow that to happen. We can't.
Now, Buttigieg criticized Trump for some of his deregulatory moves. In this case, they didn't even apply to what was happening in this train. But the Department of Transportation's most recent regulatory agenda, which lists all planned, proposed, and final rules, does not include the ECP braking rule, which everybody's been talking about. Again, they invoke it now, but it's not something they ever have talked about before or even attempted to pass via regulation.
Yeah, you know what's interesting when you played Pete Buttigieg's or pointed out his comment that, well, we're doing our best with what we are allowed to do, what we're permitted to do. When it's convenient for them and their agenda, they'll pass executive orders. They'll get, the ATF or some other department to, pass what is essentially a law to make the changes that they want. But now, again, instead of doing the right thing, taking ownership and taking responsibility and saying, hey, we screwed up. Here's what we should have done, and here's what we're going to fix it. Instead, again, they're making up the rules as they go along because they really only care about themselves. Pete Buttigieg only cares about himself and whatever his ambitions are in the future. And this it hurts my heart for all of those who are watching at home who live along rail lines in this country, who are concerned for the safety and well-being of their family the next time a train goes by. And they've got to sit there and wonder, what is in those rail cars? Will I and my family be safe, or will we be the next ones who are suffering like our fellow Americans are in Palestine, Ohio today?
And Tulsi, if there wasn't a media outcry, albeit a little bit late, about this, do you think they would have even, really done much at all? It seems like they were, as I said in the Angle, fairly unfazed by this.
They would not, and this is not a guess. We know that they would not because they are barely doing anything right now. Throwing a few pennies at these families who are suffering and worried if they're going to have long-term cancer is such a freaking insult to them. So no, if you and others were not drawing the spotlight on them and their hypocrisy and their conflict of interest and their selfishness, these families would be even worse off than they are today.
Tulsi, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.